Warning: the following podcast contains spoilers and the overuse of the word fuck. Hey, you big feet loving fuckers. I'm back with episode 3. Technically episode 4, but whatever, yeah. It's been a while since I did this. I don't remember when the last one was. But, yeah, I wanted to do this because I just watched a movie that I've been kind of hyped for a while. And I was just recently able to watch it, like, a couple days ago. And it just I think it just came out just this week. And that movie, of course, is Primal Rage, The Legend of Oh-Mah. And I am just blown away by this fucking thing. My favorite subgenre of horror is creature features, monsters, stuff like this, and I love it. This is a movie that I mentioned it before on a post in the 22 Shots. This is a breath of fresh air in a world of monster movies that are just nearly 100% CGI. Practical gore is non-existent. You get a lot of CGI blood, just bullshit movies, bullshit low budget creature features. And then something like this comes along, and now I have an outlet to kind of get it out there for others to see. And I want more people to see it, I think practical effects it's a lost art, and it's something that's really underappreciated nowadays, because you have shit like Sharknado, and people love those movies for whatever reason. This weird generation where I'm not a part of it. I grew up with movies with practical effects. I grew up with films from the 80s and the early 90s. Full Moon, where it was all practical stuff. And now there are kids now and teenagers and young adults who grew up in a time where it's mostly CGI monsters. You get some practical stuff here and there, but for the most part, it's CGI crap fest. And Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, Abominable Snowman, Yeti, whatever, has had a really bad track record when it comes to horror movies. There are a few that I really like. Abominable, which I'll say right now was my favorite Sasquatch film until I saw this movie. I love this movie that much that it's officially my number one movie. Number one Sasquatch movie. I like Exists. Willow Creek, I don't hate it. I like Bobcat Goldthwait, and I like his commentary on it, talking about it, but that movie just leaves a lot to be desired for me. But there are, some really bad Sasquatch movies out there, and just name a few. Assault of the Sasquatch, which is a fun movie, but it's a fucking bad movie. Sasquatch Hunters, which has horrible CGI, like cartoon CGI, not actual cartoon like Evil Toons, but it's just so bad. It has a Sasquatch running through the woods and shit, running towards the camera. Really, really bad. But this one is just, it's so above what most of the Sasquatch movies are. The Legend of Boggy Creek is a classic as far as monster movies from the 70s. That's when it came out. Charles B. Pierce, he made Boggy Creek 2 and Legend Continues. I like that one more, actually. And I love it as a part of a Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode. Which I should probably get into something before I get into the actual review of Primal Rage. I'm going to have timestamps So anyone who doesn't want to hear this bullshit, you can go right to that review. You don't want to listen to this? You don't have to listen to it. This is free and optional. It's out here for people to listen to. But yeah, go down into the description. You can find the review, lickety split. But right now, I want to talk about some releases. And since I mentioned Mystery Science Theater 3000, I'm going to mention Kino Lorber, which is releasing Monster Shark, aka Devilfish. Which, if you're a fan of the show Mystery Science Theater 3000, I gotta figure out something to call that. I can't keep calling it like that. Calling it like that. There's an episode, one of my favorite episodes. Italians for Floridians. Before Sharktopus, there was Monster Shark, which is what this kind of monster is. Very shark octopus hybrid type of thing. And it's coming out to the world on Blu-ray from Kino Lorber. I don't think there's a release date yet for it. In fact, I could probably check real quick for you. This is the little nifty thing for having your phone here when you're doing this. Saw this from Kino Lorber on Kino Lorber Studio Classics on Facebook. This is actually where I first saw this post. I love how it's not even going to do it now. I go to this thing, it's right there, and now I can't look at it. Fucking bullshit. I hate everything. Seriously. Whatever. I'll give you like a little quick rundown. I know it's on my Instagram. At Mr. Luis Antonio. Cheap plug. Music by Fabio Frizzi. Directed by Lamberto Bava. I think Sam just creamed his pants just hearing that last name. I like that his Instagram account's right here on my screenshot. Psychotic Cinema. From 1984. This thing, it's a bad movie, but it's a fun bad movie. And as a Mystery Science episode, it is, like I said, one of my favorites. Oddly enough, I'm not doing this. It's not connected at all, purposefully. I didn't do it on purpose, but my favorite episode of Mystery Science is Boggy Creek 2 and The Legend Continues, which is a Bigfoot movie. I didn't plan it out. Just as I'm doing this shit, I'm thinking about it. So that's Kino Lorber. Scream Factory is the one putting out some fucking bangers. Brain Scan, which I've never seen. A lot of people hype up for that. Night of the Lepus, which I mentioned, I believe, on my last podcast. The Unborn, which is a movie that I haven't seen in a long time, but I love part 2. I also saw it when I was a little kid, so I don't really, maybe my dumb little kid brain wasn't ready for a kind of like a serious adult, maybe slow-paced movie like The Unborn. But I love Unborn too. Never seen either of those movies. I can't tell you much about The Unborn. I don't remember anything. I haven't looked up Wikipedia or plot synopsis, anything. But Unborn 2 is fucking entertaining as hell. Again, maybe a bad movie to some people. Definitely a bad movie to some people. But The Unborn 2 is just, it deals with these super babies and a lady going around trying to kill them. And the movie itself is focused on one baby and one mother, and he's got a giant head, he eats meat, and it's a prosthetic, baby. Entertaining as hell. And Brain Scan is like the big one for a lot of people of the recent releases, our recent announcements. But for me, the big one is Return of the Living Dead 2. Now, why is that a big deal? Return of the Living Dead 2 has some music issues, and that's rights issues, copyrights. On the VHS, theatrically, there is a pretty fucking awesome soundtrack that goes with the movie. When it was put on DVD, because of copyrights issues, that soundtrack was changed and it was replaced by a maybe more generic, different tone sounding soundtrack. And if Scream Factory and what they were implying is fact, we're going to have the original soundtrack on this new Blu-ray, and that's fucking cool because I own a bootleg of the of the DVD with the shitty soundtrack, and you can go on YouTube, look up Return of the Living Dead 2 original soundtrack comparison, whatever, and you'll hear the difference. The first one, the original, has a really hard metal sound to it. The other one is not goofy, but I don't know. It's just different, way different in tone. It doesn't feel the same. It doesn't sound the same. But yeah, that's the kind of the big hit right there for Scream Factory. Also, Scream Factory is gonna be putting out a lot of good movies. They have that Corman deal, so you're gonna see a lot of Corman titles. Fingers crossed for that Carnosaur trilogy. I love the Carnosaur trilogy. All 3 movies, I enjoy all of them. A lot of good movies they could put out because of that deal. And yeah, I look forward to that. It's gonna be pretty fucking cool year of announcements and releases for Scream Factory in 2018. And 12 minutes is not bad. Probably be a little bit longer because of that disclaimer I put in here. I wanted to put a disclaimer because I know people are going to listen to this who have seen it and they're going to listen to it, whatever. But I know there's people who want to see it and hate spoilers, don't want to be spoiled. So I put a little disclaimer. I might put it at the beginning of other podcasts. But yeah, let's get into this. Primal Rage. From what I could gather, I didn't do a lot of research on it. I don't do a lot of research on these fucking things. I just did like a quick search and run through. But it started out in 2014 and started out as a Kickstarter. No pun intended. And eventually, in 2017, it got made. It's had some release in some film circuits, I guess. Well, I don't really know exactly what it was, but people were seeing it. You already seen reviews of it out there. I didn't read the reviews, but you see people watching it. You see reviews already on YouTube and stuff. But it wasn't released until this past week, and I found out about it. And as soon as I did, I fucking hopped on it. That's a lie. It took me a day, maybe a day or two, because I had to get bullshit work, and work makes me forget. Even though I have a bad memory anyway. Where the fuck was I going with that? See, that's what I'm saying. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been waiting since late 2017 to watch this movie. Major anticipated movie. Waiting for months. It said January 27th or something. Got out, went to work. We get the films, like brand new films, early in the morning. Not early in the morning, but early in, how do I say it? Like late in the morning for us. So around 9, 10. By that time, we're gone. I'm gone. And next day, look, not there. Next day, look, not there. It's not there. And I looked later online. It said February something. So I'm like, okay. So I looked for that date. Go online, Amazon pre-orders, nothing there. Google searches, nothing there. Walmart shelves, nothing there. I'm like, fuck, man. What the hell's going on? I want to watch this movie. I love horror movies, obviously. I love some Bigfoot movies. Even though some were bad, I did a little marathon, I think, last month or 2 months ago. So I'm a fan of Bigfoot movies. And I wanted to watch this movie. It looks cool. There's a poster of it. And I don't think you'll see it here if you go to my... Well, you'll see it on SoundCloud. I'm going to put there's a little square you put on SoundCloud. That's going to be on there of these red eyes looking out through this bark mask, this tree bark mask. Really cool look to it. They did replace it with the kind of generic looking cover with the girl, and then it shows the Oh-Mah's jaw right there next to her. Not as good as the blue one with the red eyes, but it gets the point across, I guess. Does its job. But I watched it. Right off the bat, you get this crazy, I don't know, mauling victim. And I guess I should start off with the the plot of it. There's a girl, a woman's picking up her husband who was just released from jail, and I think it's implied. This is how bad my memory is. I've watched this thing 2 times now, and I'm having a little bit of a hazy moment here thinking about it, but I think it's implied that they did something together, and he's the one that went to jail, and she kind of got, not a slap on the wrist, but she got a way less sentence, like a misdemeanor or something. Because they're in the car, and they go to a little store on their way through wherever they're driving, and he opens a beer in the car, and she's like, "You haven't learned anything." And he's like, "It's just a beer." And she goes, "Yeah, it's a class 2 misdemeanor or some shit. Because that's what I got," or something like that. She knows about it. He knows that she got that. So they're in on this whole thing about what happened. I don't think we are fully. It might be explained. I miss some shit. I definitely miss some shit, because I say I miss some shit. I'm saying, holy shit. My memory is so fucked up. It's not a joke. I can't remember stuff from 5 minutes ago. And I'm trying to do reviews, on this fucking channel now. But, yeah, they hit this body, and it's mangled up, and the guy's all just completely fucked up. Really good look to it, by the way. The victim of the Oh-Mah. And they get out, and they're trying to call the cops or an emergency line. And they start, rocks start coming from the woods. And one of them hits the dude, and he falls back into the water, and then she has to go get him. And from there you get, I don't know, man. It's just, I want to get into the crazy shit already. I don't want to explain any of this stuff. They get together, and they're trying to find their way back because they go down a river, and they meet up with these people that they met earlier, these redneck dudes, who are just maybe the worst part of the movie as far as like what makes sense and shit, because they're just, I get the guy's an ex-convict, but they're just assholes to be assholes to move the plot along. But thankfully, it gives the Bigfoot some victims. Now let's get into that, because I want to talk about this shit. So, Bigfoot. You know Sasquatch. You've seen the movies. You know all the, pretty much, the gist of Sasquatch. He throws rocks. He's hard to find, whatever. This Sasquatch, this Oh-Mah, there's a whole legend around it. The Oh-Mah isn't a typical Bigfoot. It is very much ingrained in this Native American legend. The Oh-Mah. It uses tomahawks and it uses knives, like makeshift knives out of flint or some shit. It uses a bow and arrow, bow and arrows. It turns the fucking thing sideways and trips the chick while she's running. Bigfoot, the Oh-Mah decapitates a dude with a tomahawk. There's a point where he's up in a tree. It's very much like First Blood when Rambo's up in the tree and he jumps down on that dude. It didn't look exactly like it, but it's right there. It made me think of First Blood. And that's just one of the references to First Blood. I mean, the whole thing is very First Blood with the hunting party looking for John Rambo and this group of guys just kind of finding their way back, but it's this one crew in the woods, and there's one being who's equipped and ready to fucking take them all out. Gory movie, not like Hostel or anything, but you get eye gouging, you get head crushing with a foot, you get a mouth rip. He grabs the lower jaw and the upper mouth and he rips it open. And at one point it gets shot with a shotgun, and it does some self repair. And that was like, holy shit, it's like Predator. There's a scene where, when the Predator is walking towards Arnold and the blades come out of that thing on its wrist. There's a scene similar like that in this movie. There's the part where it's, fixing itself by the fire. That's very Predator-like. In part 1 and part 2, the Predator had that scene where it's, doing some field medical stuff to itself. That's what the monster does in this. Really fucking cool stuff. What else? We'll talk about the look of it in a minute. The witch is a fucking witch in this movie. And she's not like just an old lady. There's prosthetics on the nose and on the chin, and the eyes she has contacts in, so it makes it look not normal. She has these long jagged fingernails. She's something right out of Legend, the movie with Tim Curry as the devil. She would fit right in with something like that. Very much a throwback to someone like not Miss Elsie, Haggis. I was gonna say Miss Elsie from Pumpkinhead too. Haggis from Pumpkinhead. But this one's even more so, I guess, of a caricature because of the prosthetics on her face and the fingers and the constant mouth opening. She doesn't speak, but she's like this witch doctor, this Native American witch doctor. Speaking of the Native Americans, there's one of the central characters. He's Native American, and he teams up with the main dude who is looking for his wife because the Bigfoot took his wife. And there's some funny moments with that dude. I wouldn't say he's the comedic relief, but he says some funny stuff like a man out of balance falls over or something like that. And you go, what? And the white dude goes, "What is that? Some Native American saying or something?" And he goes, "I don't know. I just made it up." Little stuff like that. Not like full on blown comedy. This is not a comedy horror movie. It's not a comedy horror comedy. But there's some funny moments like that in there. This movie takes itself seriously. There's a lot of horror comedies, a lot of bad, low budget CGI monsters. This thing is so different. This Primal Rage is so fucking different. And I love that. I want this movie to have a sequel. And we'll get to that in a second about a sequel. I'm so excited. I cannot fucking wait for the physical release of this. I want the Blu-ray, I want the DVD, whatever, just give it to me. The look of the Oh-Mah, this Sasquatch creature. Well, he's not the traditional Sasquatch, you know. He doesn't look like the Harry and the Hendersons Sasquatch. He doesn't look like Boggy Creek. He doesn't look like a dude, you know, with hair on his face, or a Neanderthal type of dude. You know, he doesn't look like the typical, quote unquote, typical Bigfoot. It's very different. The body does. Like, the body's very Bigfoot-ish. But the head, the face. I'll say about the body. One thing that this movie does with their Bigfoot is they give him almost like armor. Again, another little thing to add to the Predator comparison. He has like shin guards and arm guards of bark. And he has a bark mask. Again, like I said, he has red eyes. These like just red fucking eyes. And his face is... There's some animatronics going on with the face or something, because it's... You know, there's independent movement within the eyebrow and the lips and the nose. Because the lips curl back. If you've ever seen like a mandrill or like a baboon, you've seen their lips flip back. And that's what this creature does. You know, it picks a guy up, and he starts growling. His fucking lips flip back. Really, I don't know what just happened there. I hit a button. But yeah, the lips flip back. It looks really cool. He has like almost like whiskers on his like near his lower lip. His head is very much like a mandrill, a baboon, Rafiki from The Lion King. You know, it has that elongated face type look. There's a little bit of blue, a little bit of red right there on the nose. It makes you think of a mandrill. I think I'm saying that right. Mandrill. The Rafiki thing from Lion King. That should be easy enough to figure out. Really cool fucking Bigfoot. I mean, Abominable has a unique Bigfoot with almost like a blown up human head, and its mouth opens really wide, and yeah, it has like almost like a Lemmy mustache, mutton chop type thing going on. But this thing is it's not humanoid. It's not even Sasquatch like, really. You know, it makes you think of like a baboon, like a monkey, or there's some parts that made me think of, what was his name, Fluffy from the Crate monster from the anthology horror, George A. Romero. There was a sequel, The Raft, Thanks for the Ride, Lady, Creepshow. It reminds me of the Crate monster from Creepshow in certain scenes. Really cool. There's a Sasquatch rape going on. I mean, that's kind of, there's a little bit of a running theme with some of these movies. Willow Creek is that's kind of like the whole thing with that. You know, it's Sasquatch kidnaps women and rapes them. And there's a Sasquatch rape in this movie. Oh man, the ending is cool because, again, there's spoilers. All of this shit's been spoiled so far. But they kill the Oh-Mah. It's dead. They crush its head, and the guy's sitting there against a tree, and all of a sudden he gets hit with arrows, pow, 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 and he looks ahead of him, and there's these fucking Oh-Mahs, these Sasquatches, like a whole bunch of them just coming out, all with the bark on their face and the bark armor and leaves and stuff all over them. And it's like, oh man, please, oh shit, please be a sequel. Please have a sequel. Please let there be a sequel. I want a sequel. I need one. I love this movie. Yeah, I don't know if it's, I've been watching a lot of Harrison Ford movies, and I've watched some Sean Connery and Clint Eastwood. I don't know if I've needed to watch more horror movies recently, or if I really just love this movie that much, but I was so into this movie. I was so into it that very recently, I haven't become a very big rewatcher of films, but the last maybe a couple weeks, I've wanted to rewatch some movies. I wanted to rewatch It Chapter 1, and I've wanted to rewatch this movie. And this I was able to do. I didn't rewatch it, but I was able to rewatch this. I ordered it on Amazon. I don't know how long we have to wait for the physical release, but if I can't come soon enough. But yeah, I mean, I would say I'd love to hear your thoughts. I don't think anyone's gonna comment on this. I don't think anyone ever comments on this. I think Marco commented one time on one of my podcast episodes on YouTube. So shout out to Marco. Fuck the VVN though. That's an inside joke. Fuck it. And yeah, that's it. I'm gonna review this again. I'm gonna try and do a better job where I'm not so fucking. One, I'm sleepy. Two, I'm excited because I wanted to talk about this. And 3, there won't be anything except for talk about this movie in particular. That's when I get the Blu-ray or DVD. I'll do another review of that, a proper review. So yeah, if you listen to this all the way in, thanks. You can find the Business of Fear podcast, one word, on YouTube. You can find it on SoundCloud, which, there's some people who listen to it over there, surprisingly. YouTube and SoundCloud, Business of Fear. You want to keep up with the shit that I'm doing, you can go on my Instagram at Mr. Luis Antonio, one word, and you can go find me on Letterboxd, Mr. Luis Antonio, one word. And yeah, I'll maybe have another podcast for you guys. I know my girlfriend wanted me to have another podcast up soon. A few days late, but I got it. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't fucking laugh. I hope no one listened to this if they hadn't seen it before. And I was explaining it like, to people who'd never seen it before, so I don't know what the fuck I was doing. But yeah, I was able to talk about it. I got it out there. I love this movie. Patrick McGee, you did a fucking great job, man. He's the director of this badass movie. And, he deserves some love. Oh-Mah, Primal Rage, The Legend of Oh-Mah, that deserves some love. And I deserve some love, so share and like and comment and I don't do that shit, but if you listen around, if you listen this long, thanks, man, or lady, dude, Bigfoot, people, fuckers, there we go, fuckers, thank you, fuckers. Now we'll be back with another one, hopefully soon. Oh-Mah.